Hello, everyone. I all hope you had a very, very wonderful, blessed weekend and very much of a great day indeed, guys. As you can see, guys, today's weather is extremely quietly cold and very much extremely, as in literally quietly cold as well. But nevertheless, guys, I'm exactly here in order to shoot for you, in order to tell you more about the supervillains and about the greater superheroes as well. Despite that, guys, I'm so superly grateful for your support and for you guys watching all my videos from TikTok and from shorts and from long videos from YouTube as well. I'm totally, completely, superly grateful for you guys. And thank you guys for still joining me in my journey as well, for going with me on my journey, for going on me with this, for literally continuing staying with me on my journey. It extremely completely means a lot to me as well. Literally means a lot to me as well. May God bless you, and may God also as well stay. May God also bless you, and may God also stay with you guys whenever. Stay with you guys whenever it is that you're also that you're whatever it is that you also guys are doing as well, and may you also fulfill your dreams or do whatever it is that you're also making to come true as well. I'm also as well rooting for you guys as well. Stay safe and stay happy and stay positive and love yourself and also enjoy the rest of your week as well. On today's episode, we'll be speaking about the Power Sisters, who are very, very powerful, devious, who are very, very powerful, mischievous dark witches, and who are very quietly known to be the associates of an ancient shadowy criminal elite organization known as the Order of Power, which is quietly founded and led by the new Lord of Magic, who is known as Lord Jet, with the sole goal of exterminating and wiping out the supernaturals, aliens, superhumans, and the Four Nation Hunters and the universal heroes in the process. So he can exactly begin to dominate his people and his kind so that they can rule the sacred universe and the known universe and the rest of sacred existence in the process, to furthering the ultimate plans and the ultimate goals as well. So let's get to it. The Power Sisters were quietly known throughout the entire sacred magic dimensions history as one of the most of the devious and evil, and one of the most devious and manipulative witches ever known throughout the entire sacred magic dimension, for their powers of manipulation and controlling events and wars. Throughout the ancient middle centuries, the Power Sisters exactly banded together and used their dark powers of manipulation to manipulate many major conflicts and wars in event to their advantage, so they can further their sinister goals and plans in the process. During which, on those times, the Power Sisters exactly began waging war against the wizards, the elves, pixies, and fairies and light witches and light druids and vampires and all types of supernatural creatures, in order for them to exactly control their home, in order for them to exactly control their respective home worlds and the rest of the entire sacred worlds, the rest of the entire respective home worlds and the rest of the magical dimensional kingdoms and colleges in the process. But their plans were quietly thwarted, though, due to the intervention of the Four Nation Hunters, and of the intervention of the Four Nation Hunters, and of the intervention of the great wizards, and of the intervention of the great magical wizards and warlocks and light witches who banded together, who were exactly able to put up a fight against them as well. During which, in those times, the Power Sisters exactly decided to retreat in order to lay low from the operation, so that they can exactly see what they're truly fighting up against, which exactly provided time and necessary adjustments for them to come up with a very much of a sinister plan to controlling events from behind the scenes as well. After the following past ancient times, since the Power Sisters began launching the attack, they quietly remained low, and also secretly from the shadows of the sacred magic dimension, they secretly began manipulating powerful warlords, leaders, and warlocks from behind the scenes, in order for them to use them as pawns to further their goals and their plans. But the Four-Nation Hunters were well aware that there were sinister forces that were quietly highly occupied, there were sinister forces quietly controlling powerful, high-ranking leaders from behind the scenes, and they decided to exactly fight the sinister threat from the shadows, from the the actual shadows of the sacred wall in order for it to be exposed from existence. During which in those times the power excuse me, during which in those times the Power Sisters exactly took extra precautions and measures to protect themselves and the rest of their forces while they began exactly orchestrating an event that could literally benefit the original Lord of Magic, who was quietly in power and who was still exactly the high ranking powerful lord and leader of the Shadow Empire, which exactly benefited him in numerous ways. The event of this war became the sacred power war, which the original Lord of Magic and the Shadow Empire benefited from it by slaughtering and laying waste to thousands of worlds and planets in by laying waste to thousands of worlds and planets and civilization in a matter of minutes and time as well. During the ancient centuries of the war, the Power Sisters exactly met up with the original Lord of Magic in the ancient dark library, where the original Lord of Magic was quite very pleased and very successful, happy with the Power Sisters tactics and cooperation and how they organized and manipulated the events from behind the scenes. Regardless of that, the Power Sisters only told the original Lord of Magic that their job and purpose and mission is for them to serve the most powerful dark being throughout sacred existence, and is to grant them infinite knowledge and greater powers and all secrets and techniques that they may able to be granted to them. Despite that, the original Lord of Magic was very quietly pleased to hear about the secrets and about the techniques, as he asked the Power Sisters to in order for them to actually share him intimate and greater successful dark knowledge of how to control dark magic and wild energy, at its greatest power, since he discovered that his body cannot exactly take all the power and all the energy all in one. The Power Sisters exactly agreed that they'll share and provide him the greatest infinite tactical, the greatest infinite forbidden techniques and dark magical techniques that had never been seen or granted to him, so he can exactly utilize them and use them to his advantages. And in return, the original Lord of Magic reassures the Power Sisters that in return that he'll actually grant them safe passage and greater resources, and also provide them bases of operation for them to work in full secrecy and especially within the shadows as well. After that, the leader of the Power Sisters was very quietly pleased and very much quietly reassured as they managed to make a deal with the original Lord of Magic as well. After the following centuries have passed during the ancient times, the Power Sisters still provided Amber, the goddess of power, and the original Magic with great infinite knowledge and dark abilities and techniques that they can easily utilize for themselves when they quietly wage war or in conflict with their greatest adversaries and foes, which is exactly what they did. In return, the Power Sisters exactly used their bases of operation as well as bases. They used their shadowy bases of operation and their headquarters in order for them to focus their experiments, in order for them to focusing their entire experiment notations and the rest of them for themselves, so that they can exactly understand the secrets and the powers and abilities so they can understand the secrets and the powers and the abilities of shadow energy and of wild energy in a process, so they can easily find a way to unlock its secrets and its powers in the process, so they can remain strictly immortal and very quietly powerful as well in the process as well. During the following later years, one of the Shadow Empire warlord exactly approached the Power Sisters within their bases of operation and exactly granted the Power Sisters with infinite powerful beautiful magical crystals as part of the original Lord of Magic's reassurance to reassure them he's actually providing them endless resources, since they're actually providing him with endless knowledge and greater infinite techniques and greater powers that are actually never seen or ever discovered ever before that. Despite that, the Power Sisters were very quietly pleased that the Shadow Empire warlord brought them more beautiful magical crystals they can exactly utilize for themselves to beginning very powerful sinister rituals for themselves in order to make sure that their lord and master remains in power and in control, which they'll also soon benefit from that as well. On the on the actual on the actual 10th of February, on the actual 10th of February, the Power Sisters actually reconvene on a very powerful dock, on a very powerful cave, on a very powerful dock cave in a shadowy holographic holograms as they were all together, as they were all together as one, and exactly discuss the death and the demise of the original Mola Magic, which they quietly felt very bad, and which they quietly felt very bad and very terrible of his passing, realizing that he's gone and that his death has created a power vacuum within the Shadow Empire, within the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders who are now fighting amongst themselves in order for them to grab the Shadow Empire throne. The Power Sisters realizes that they have to do something about the chaos in order for them to actually benefit. One of the other Power Sisters exactly talked to the other sister and exactly told them they have to exactly find a way to align themselves with one of the most powerful forces of evil so they can make sure that they are on their side instead of them fighting up against them, as they all began to agree on that as well. On the actual 15th of March, the Power Sisters exactly were in a very powerful dark ancient crystal canyon cave where they began very much of a sinister dark ritual where they focus all their power and energy and abilities all in one in order to process the energy of the dark crystals so they can exactly remain powerful and very much heavily connected, which the ritual began exactly spiraling up a powerful purple energy which began spreading throughout the entire known alien worlds and began touching down to other worlds and other planets and began exactly harvesting and absorbing all the energy and all the powers from all the other alien worlds and civilization. The Universal Magic heroes were forced to exactly intervene as Universal Magical was able to detect the source of the power, or was able to detect the source of the was able to detect the power, was able to detect the source of the ancient, and was able to detect the power, was able to actually detect and sense the presence of an ancient force of evil that is highly stronger and very, very highly invincible as well, which they all exactly intercepted the force of evil on the Grand Canyon of the Crystal Cave, on a very much of a beautiful, on a very much of a dark, beautiful planet that houses all the Grand Crystal Caves, and the Universal Magic Hero and the Universal Magic Heroes and Universal Magical battled against the Power Sisters and fought up against them, literally disturbing the sacred ancient dark ritual in the process, like literally disturbing the process of the dark ritual that was actually capable of extracting resources and energies and magical powers and resources and energies from other worlds and planets within its close proximity as well. During which the Power Sisters began to realize that magic, the Universal Magical and the Universal Magic Heroes, are about to become a major threat to the operation and to their plan, and they decided in order to destroy the rest of the planet and the rest of the world in a matter of minutes before their plans were completely terminated, in which they all began to teleport themselves quietly far away while the planet itself began exactly to crumble and it secretly began a very powerful but just state of an explosion, secretly began destroying itself in the process as the Universal Magic Heroes realized that they can't exactly stop the planet that's about to be destroying itself, so they all decided to retreat. As they all exactly retreated, the planet began to explode as all the magical powers and crystals and energy were literally decimated in the process as well. On the 29 on the 20 on the 29 on the 29th of April, the Power Sisters exactly reconvene on an ancient powerful dark crystal temple that's quietly on another sinister dark that's quietly on another sinister dark pocket dimension, which is quietly filled with alien monsters and planets and civilizations, which is quietly filled of evil alien monsters and creatures that are quietly roaming free there. And the energy of that dark pocket dimension is quietly connected to dark magic and all its energy spectrum. The Power Sisters were able to reconvene on that temple, on that pocket dimension within the temple, and they were able to speak about exactly what happened. They were able to speak about that. Were able to exactly speak about what actually really happened with a battle against the Universal Magic hero, against the Universal Magic heroes. As the leader of the Power Sisters began to realize that Universal Magical and the Universal Magic heroes are becoming a greater threat and a greater obstacle to their plans and to their goal, and that they must find a way in order to take them down and to purposely wipe them out permanently, as they all became to an agreement with that one as well. On the actual 25 of May, the Power Sisters actually still remain on that dark pocket dimension within the dark crystal temple until a Shadow Empire warlord exactly revealed himself from the shadows and exactly trying to tell the Power Sisters that he will still provide them with endless technologies and powerful greater resources as still part of the deal with the original Lord of Magic as well. The leader of the Power Sisters exactly wanted to ask what did the Shadow Empire warlord exactly wanted in return. The Shadow Empire warlord exactly told the Power Sister what he wanted in return was greater resources and greater highly destructive and compatible technology created and made by dark magic's powers and scientific dark magic powers and abilities, so he can exactly begin furthering his own plans and his own goals by conquering many worlds and civilizations in a process for himself and for his faction. The Power Sisters exactly agreed that they will supply the Shadow Empire warlord with all the scientific dark technology and resources as part of the deal, which they actually agreed on as well. While the others were very skeptical about his intentions to conquering many alien worlds and many alien worlds and many alien worlds and civilizations for himself and for his faction, which they began to question and ask themselves, will he be able to succeed on this goal, or rather, not exactly. On the 20th of June, the Power Sisters exactly created a dark magical eye, created a dark magical crystal orb in order to watch the Shadow Empire warlord on his sinister, in order to watch the Shadow Empire warlord on his plan to conquering many worlds and civilization, as they all exactly watched within their headquarters, which is quietly in the exact same dark pocket dimension within the Crystal Temple, as they exactly watched as the Shadow Empire warlord began attacking other worlds and civilization, and the intergalactic coalition of the Four Nation Hunters began to gratefully intercept his fleet and the rest of his faction and was quietly apprehended. The Power Sisters exactly began to discuss themselves that the intergalactic coalition of the Four Nation Hunters is becoming extremely powerful and very dangerous and very, very deadly, especially with their abilities in thwarting the operation and their sinister goals in the process. They are not meant to be underestimated, as they all began to agree amongst themselves as well. On the 29th of July, the leader of the Power Sisters exactly went up, literally left the pocket dark dimension of the Crystal Temple, and literally went straightly into the sacred enchanted forest, where there was a huge powerful dark magical bearing wall of a dark fog of dark magic, which he mysteriously exactly entered with it and exactly began drawing power from the energy of the dark dimension itself, in order to become more powerful and more very much extremely immortal on her own, where she discovered that there is a way in order to harness power and to harness its ability in the long-term plan of her goal for her sisters and for the rest of her people as well in the actual process. On the 25th of August, the members of the Power Sisters began to exactly reconvene on a different dark cave in a shadowy holographic holograms, where they all exactly began to discuss the future plans of their goals, as the leader of the Power Sisters exactly told them that they must fully align themselves with the new Lord of Magic, who is known as Lord Jet, in order to provide them endless resources and more greater greater resources than ever before with his ancient secret society, with his ancient secret society and his powerful, shadowy elite criminal organization, which is exactly what he exactly needs. As the other members began to agree with aiding the new Lord of Magic known as Lord Jet by providing him with endless resources, he will exactly return provide them and the rest of the group with more powerful, systematic, greater resources, which will actually in return will exactly able to benefit them in the actual process, as they all exactly became to agree on that point. On the actual 29th of September, the Power Sisters exactly reconvene with the Dark Sisters on an ancient, powerful dark crystal temple, which the base of location is quietly on an which the base of location is quietly in a very which the base of the dark temple is quietly within a powerful dark volcanic island as they all began to reconvene with the Dark Sisters. The Dark Sisters exactly told the Power Sisters that their resources and a greater knowledge and experience will gratefully be definitely being needed for the organization's plans and goals for what's exactly about to come. As the leader of the Power Sisters began to agree that together they can exactly utilize the resources in order to further their plans and their goals in the long-term plan, in order to further their long-term plan goals and their sinister plans in the long term and their sinister plans for the far future that's about to come in a sacred galactic war. Until then, Lord Jet, the new Lord of Magic, revealed himself from the shadows and exactly told the Power Sisters that he would gratefully exactly accept them as new associates of his new organization, and that with their resources and with their expertise, they'll be gratefully very much helpful to his goal and to his plan, which in return he will continue to exactly providing them with intimate, greater knowledge and with greater headquarters and greater maintenance of bases of operation, which will provide security for them to operate within the shadows, so that for them to actually operate within the shadows, and which will also provide security and protection for them to operate within the shadows and to work within the shadows as well. The Power Sisters were the leader of the Power Sisters were very much quietly happy with the proposition, and the rest of her sisters also accepted the proposition as they all became to agree that they do share a common goal and a common interest as well. On the 21st of October, the Power Sisters exactly began working and experimenting with shadow energy and wild energy on a very dark, sinister cave of a laboratory where they began accessing all the powers and all the abilities of shadow energy and wild energy in a process for them to become more powerful and more sinister than ever before, which they were able to crack the secrets and all its powers and ability due to the dark druids and to the dark witches and to the dark faithful who are able to provide them with endless knowledge and all of that. They began creating destructive and more compatible technology for the Shadow Empire warlords who were quietly associates of an ancient shadowy criminal organization known as the Order of Power. To this end, they were able to benefit greater forbidden knowledge and greater forbidden powers and techniques in the process as well. On the 15th of November, the Power Sisters exactly began besieging an entire magical world and planet that is quietly filled with warlocks and wizards only, and they're besieging it with their dark magic powers and their abilities in the process, so they can exactly lay waste to the entire intergalactic coalition of the Four Nation Hunters. The Universal Founders and the Universal Magic Heroes and Universal Magical led the attack against the forces of evil, which they began exactly attacking them with the help of the Four Nation Hunters, who began also attacking the forces of evil. The leader of the Power Sisters was quietly on top of the entire planet as she watched from below until Universal Magical exactly fell up against her with her magical powers and abilities. The two of them were gratefully evenly matched against each other, as the leader of the Power Sisters realized that Universal Magical is extremely powerful and very much of a dangerous superhero who can never be underestimated. To this point, she told the rest of her forces to retreat as she created as she literally demonstrated her full power and her abilities to Universal Magical enough in order for them to actually teleport themselves away, where she created a huge blast of dark magic in order for them to mysteriously disappear and teleport themselves away, which is exactly what they did. Universal Magical and the rest of the heroes and the rest of the Phoenician hunters realize that the Power Sisters are becoming a dangerous, devious group of ancient, powerful witches and are very, very unlikely to repeat the same attack, to repeat the same attack, to repeat the same attack, and to repeat the exact same attack in the way that they actually did, and they're becoming very much impatient, excuse me, very much impatient and very much aggressive with their plans, and they're willing to destroy anything that gets in the way, as they all began to realize that for themselves as well. After the attack on 15 November, the Power Sisters were never quietly considerably heard of again since the entire month of December until on January the 20th, the Power Sisters began to reconvene again on a very dark, mysterious crystal cave in a dark, shadowy, holographic holograms, as they all began to talk about last year's defeat against the Universal Magic Heroes and against the Universal Founders. The leader of the Power Sisters exactly told the rest of her sisters, and the rest of her coven, that attack was quietly reckless and not exactly much of a good attack either way. In order for them to extract more power and more abilities, that they have to wait and withdraw their time in order to study the situation purposely, especially with the Universal Magic Heroes and the Universal Founders that are secretly working together as well, which makes them too dangerous and very, very much powerful as well, as they all began to agree on that one. On the actual 25th of February, the leader of the Power Sisters and two of her sisters exactly met up with the two Dark Sisters on an ancient underground laboratory that houses the greater statues of the monsters of the Dark Dimension, which the other monster statue was on the other side, and the monsters and the other statue of the other monster was on the other side, while the powerful and almighty giant monster statue was on the actual middle of the ancient underground caves laboratory. That's where it was on the actual middle of the underground laboratory exactly. The Dark Sisters and the Power Sisters exactly began to agree that the Power Sisters are seriously underestimating the Universal Magic Hero's ability and the Universal Founder's ability in doing the operation, and they should learn that they should never again show no mercy, or since that they learn the hard way. The leader of the Power Sisters began to agree with the leader of the Dark Sisters that they made a big remarkable mistake in making a suicide attack and besieging the rest of the other magical world, not until they've studied their enemies. The other Dark Sisters began to reassure the Power Sisters that it will exactly help them study their enemies, but in this time they have to do it in their way. Otherwise, if they keep doing it in their way, the operations and their plans will systematically fall apart, as they all agree on that point. On the 22 of March, the leader of the Power Sisters met up with the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders on the battle cruiser ship where two of her sisters exactly accompanied her, and told the Shadow Empire warlord and commanders that they'll still exactly provide them with endless destructive technology and all of compatible technology, as long as they sole allegiances to the new Lord of Magic. In return, the Shadow Empire warlords told the Power Sisters they know everything about the Universal Heroes and about the Universal Magic Heroes and about the Universal Founding Heroes, and that they know a way to destroy them if they're willing to exactly grant them more accessible technology. In return, they all agree to it as well. On the actual 25th of April, the leader of the Power Sisters and the rest of her sisters began exactly talking amongst themselves on the ancient underground laboratory, telling themselves that the plan and the rightful tactics was for them to exactly wait patiently, and they have learned the hard way that the Universal Magic Heroes and the Universal Founders are very, very powerful and are too dangerous, especially with their abilities in thwarting the operation, and that it's time for them to plan the next move in order to further their sinister plan and their future goal in a process, which they all began to agree on that point. On the 20th of May, the leader of the Power Sisters created a holographic hologram in an ancient dark cave powerful dark cave, which was another base of operation for them to exactly reconvene in the dark shadowy holographic hologram as all the members of the Power Sisters Coven began to also to reconvene on the dark shadowy holographic hologram as the leader of the Power Sisters summoned a powerful, monstrous, ancient, dark, magical, monstrous statue of a monster, demonstrating to rest of her sisters of her coven that they were able to utilize the dark, magical, monstrous statue's power in order to further their plans and goals in the process to make sure that the coven is one of the most dangerous and one of the most powerful of all, which in return they will control and manipulate events in the process as well for the order of power and for themselves as well. The members of the Power Sisters were very, very quietly pleased and very successful that the original plans and goals still proceed on according to plan, and that they learned of the new obstacles and how they work and how they operate. They were able to come up with a better strategy and a better way to orchestrating events in a better, more advanced way than ever before, which they all agreed to that as well. On the actual 29th of June, the leader of the Power Sisters began to speak with the Phoenician Hunter operative on a very dark underground crystal city, where the Phoenician Hunter operative exactly provided the Power Sister with greater, more intimate knowledge and intelligence, and exactly told her that they have to remain low because the Universal Heroes are a very deadly group of superheroes who have managed to disrupt every super villain's plans and goals in the process and are too dangerous, especially with the other sacred heroes joining forces with them and align with them makes them too dangerous and makes them too powerful. The leader of the Power Sisters exactly told the Phoenician Hunter operative that her forces and the rest of her associates are well aware of the threat, and they have taken a different turn and a different approach not to underestimate the obstacle that they're quietly facing up against as well. On the 26th of July, the leader of the Power Sisters exactly met up with the rest of the members of the Power Sisters on a very dark ancient cave in the shadowy holographic figures, where they were all exactly standing on an ancient dark magical monster statues, as the leader of the Power Sisters began to telling the members of the Power Sisters that it's time for them to proceed on with the next stage of their plan, which is phase 4. Phase 4 means, in other words, staging of creating chaos and mass panic, which is what they should exactly continue to doing as well. As the other members of the Power Sisters began to go forward with the phase of the plan, then they all decided that it's best that they actually move forward with it. And the leader of the Power Sisters began to reassure the rest of her sisters that they are well aware of the threat and obstacle that they're about to be facing, as they all began to agree that they're well aware of that, and they're willing to take it down, and they're willing to wipe it out, no matter what. Despite that, guys, the Power Sisters are very powerful, ancient, mischievous, and very evil witches who have existed throughout the sacred magic universe's history for centuries and during in ancient times as well. They're very much extremely immortal, and very much extremely reluctant, and also persistent and very dedicated to their mission and to their goal, due to them living in ancient times and working from the shadows of the sacred magic universe. They became very much organized. They became very much organized and very quietly good in manipulating events from behind the scenes, which makes them more dangerous and very powerful as well. And they use that to their leverage and to their advantage in order to maintaining the basis of operation, as well as a central headquarters, which is a very powerful dark crystal temple where they can exactly convene and meet up face to face and discuss their plans and the operation as well, which provides them security and protection as well, in order for them to work and operate within the shadows of the sacred magic universe as well. Throughout the entire sacred magic universe's history, the Power Sisters are very powerful, systematic, sinister, dark witches who are very quietly crafty and good with the dark arts, who are very quietly crafty and good with the dark arts, able with the granted with the power of teleportation, the power of manipulation, the power of mind controlling, the power of telekinesis, the power of combining and infusing dark magic with the power of infusing dark magic with the power of infusing dark magic with science, and the power of opening portals, and the power of shape-shifting, the power of transformation, and the power and the power and the power and the greater power and the greater power of psychic, and the greater power of casting dark illusions, and the greater power and the greater power of manipulating, and the greater power of manipulating environments to their greater use, and the greater power of infusing themselves with shadow energy and in wild energy as well, and the power of convergence, and the power of synchronizing energies and all powers all in one as well. They are very, very good and very powerful shadowy dark witches who are very quietly granted with the power of summoning, resurrection, creating dark magical orbs. They are very resourceful and very powerful and very wiser, and very powerful, mischievous, very wise and powerful, mischievous, which is also very good in strategy, also very good in strategist and also in technician, very also clever, 12 level intellect, and also very, very level intelligent and well, also very good in forming powerful, formidable, secretive alliances with powerful other systematic super criminals, such as the members of the Order of Power, helping them with their long-term plans and their goals to conquer and control the entire sacred universe and the rest of sacred existence, which they also realize that they'll soon benefit by controlling the rest of the sacred magic universes, worlds, and planets and civilization in the process. Despite that, they are very persistent, very persistent and very reluctant with their goals. They have a dark desire and a dark ambition to control and conquer and rule over the entire magic universe, which will never stop until that goal successfully bears fruit. Due to them exactly facing and encountering the universal magic heroes and the universal founders, they learned the hard way that the universal magic heroes and the universal founders' abilities in thwarting the operation and the long-term plans is now becoming too dangerous, and then they learned the hard way they can never underestimate their abilities, and that they've learned the hard way as well. And they also learned from their failures that universal magic girl and the universal founders and the universal magic and the universal heroes pose a greater threat to their goals and to their mission, and that they've learned that not to ever again underestimate them and never again take them lightly. Due to this, they are very well organized, very well sharp, very well organized, and very well sharp, and very well systematically sinister, and very well ruthless, and very powerful, and very determined and power hungry to controlling many worlds and many civilizations and place them under their sole control. They are also very quietly good in utilizing the resources of their associates, and the resources of their associates, such as the Shadow Empire warlords and the members of the Order of Powers resources, in order for them to discover the secret forbidden techniques or powers of dark magics and resources as well. They quietly grew very fond of the original Lord of Magic, which they exactly remained associate of him during the ancient times, and continue to provide him endless forbidden techniques and dark magical techniques. In return, he will continue to exactly providing them with the basis of operation for them to exactly work and operate in the shadows of the sacred world and of the sacred universe as well in the process. Despite this, they're extremely immortal, very reluctant. There are ancient paintings and ancient carvings about the power sisters on ancient powerful dark temples that are quietly scattered throughout the rest of the magical caves of the sacred magic universe, which tell the story about the existence, which tell the actual story about the existence, how they actually came to be. They are very ancient and very powerful and very, very, very mysterious, and they are very, very dedicated to their mission and as well to their goal, and as well to their purpose, which they also use it to advantage in order to exactly maintain themselves from the shadows and to continue operating from the shadows as well of the sacred magic universe as well. Despite this, they are very ambitious and very ruthless and extremely powerful, and also extremely too dangerous as well, which makes them extremely powerful and very dangerous and very, very, very deadly, sinister dark witches as well in the process. Due to this, the Four Nation Hunters and the other wizards and warlocks have learned that the Power Sisters are a very deadly group of dark, sinister, shadowy witches, and they can never be able to be taken lightly, since they've actually managed to confront them and fight up against them during the ancient times as well. Thanks to the greater knowledge and intimate that the Power Sisters were able to gain through their past experience in fighting up against the wizards and warlocks of the sacred world, they are able to exactly maintain their presence within the sacred magic universe in order for them to operate within the shadows, or in order for them to actually operate within the shadows of the magic universe, so they can exactly operate within the shadows of the rest of the sacred universe, and also manipulating events and wars from behind the scenes, so they can actually take control of the rest of the sacred magic universe's wars and conflicts from the actual shadows of the sacred magic universe as well. They are very ancient, very powerful, very dangerous, and very deadly, dark, sinister, shadowy witches who are not meant to be underestimated. Well, guys, that's it for today's episode. I'll exactly see you tomorrow. I will upload this episode as well. And have a blessed day and a very much of a great week. And take care of yourself. And may God love you and protect you. So superly grateful for your guys' support as well. It completely means a lot to me. For those of you who are also subscribing, and for those of you who are actually watching them from YouTube and also from TikTok, completely means a lot to me. May you also as well take care of yourself and have a blessed, wonderful day. I'll exactly see you tomorrow as well, and have a wonderful day and stay safe and stay happy. Bye. Bye.